Welcome to Conversations with the USA Racewalking Foundation.
Hi, everyone. Today we're here to discuss a new way to train to evaluate the straightened leg. I'm Jeff Salvage, a silver level World Athletics racewalking judge, and I'm here with Yeliz A.
Hi, Yildiz.
Thank you, a bronze level World Athletics judge. And we've had many conversations, both formally and informally, about racewalking. And I had the pleasure of meeting her when we were at the World Athletics Team Championships in Antalya, Turkey. So we're going to go into this, and I'm going to do a brief review before we get started. This is really about evaluating bent knee at the World Athletics level, where most walkers are not violating the bent knee definition of race walking, part of the definition. So what is that part? The advancing leg shall be straightened, i.e. not bent at the knee, from the moment of first contact with the ground until in the vertical upright position. Okay, and this was evaluated by Dr. Hanley in 2019. And what he found out was, what is straightened? Straightened isn't 180 degrees. In a laboratory setting, anything greater than 177 was close enough to a geometrically straight line that it was considered straight. And you might say, well, what does 177 look like? So 180 is what you would think is a dead straight line. And then I drew two other lines, 177, which if you look quickly appears straight, but if you look really carefully, you can see there's a little bend in it. And then something like 170, which should be more obvious. In the real world, however, you've got shadows, lighting, multiple people walking. We use the threshold of 175 degrees. And we have found this to track pretty well when you look at the walkers going at full speed and then evaluating them frame by frame. If we look at a static image, we can see proper technique on the left, and we draw a straight line from the middle of the hip through the knee to the ankle. And that's basically what we're looking for. You can see an excessively bent knee on the right. And I say excessively because you really won't see this other than rare occasions where someone running around a turn in an elite competition. But in a master's competition, we see a lot more very visible bent knee. So I measured this one at 163 degrees. We show you all this, and now we're going to jump into what is a very different exercise. So I'm going to read you the instructions so you understand what's going to happen, and then we're going to go through all of these steps. So the following exercise presents a set of slides to see if you can determine when a walker's leg is straight, i.e. not bent at the knee. So the first thing we do is we show you a continuous sequence of the walker's knee to judge. So we show you one still frame after another, all on the same slide. Okay, we do this without showing anything but basically the knee, the upper leg, the lower leg, but we cut off usually the ankle and the hip. And this is not how you would judge in real life. Why are we doing this? We're doing this so that you can determine what a straightened knee looks like without all the other distractions, right? So the extra musculature, the feet, the uniform, the person might actually enter into our bias. It shouldn't, but these things happen. So let's just look at each frame zoomed in on the knee and say, when do we first believe it to be bent? And what we might find is that we believe it to be bent long before it actually is. Because if you think about optical illusions, and I'll show you one at the end, straight lines don't always appear straight based on other distractions going on around it. Then we're going to show you the same walker and the same frames, but we'll show you one frame at a time, enlarged, and show it almost in slow motion. So now you could watch the progression of the frames and see, hey, am I actually seeing the knee still bent in the process of straightening? Should I make that call? However, you shouldn't make the call until we actually know that they're in contact with the ground. So we'll tell you what frame the leg is straightened, and then we'll show you the same sequence showing the entire leg from the foot to the ankle, to the knee, to the hip. And now we can actually judge whether they're legal or not. We're not showing the upper bodies. We're trying to obfuscate the athletes as much as possible so we don't have judges prejudging them. Now you get to ask an interesting question. if the frame that the walker straightens the leg at the knee is after the moment of contact, right, then they violate the definition of race walking. So if you thought the knee was bent and then you see that they're already in contact with the ground, then you know that that walker was violating the definition. Okay. In addition, just to kind of round it all out, I had a suggestion yesterday, which is why don't you add a slow motion loop video so people can see? And I just show the one supporting leg in the video. So we're going to start, and Elise agreed to be the guinea pig. And this is very hard, right? This is something we haven't done before. And there's no one right answer. So if Elise says the answer is C and I say the answer is D, and they're both really close to straightened, there's 8 milliseconds between each of these frames. By and large, we're fine. The problem is if Elise says A is straight and I say D is straight, then we have a disagreement and one of us is wrong. Okay, so we're going to start, and Elise, I'll ask you to look at these. And if you're playing along at home, we want to do this quickly because as a judge, we don't have 10 minutes to make a decision, right? I did this with somebody offline, and they started zooming in and playing with, you know, each image to see what was going on. No. You got to train your brain to quickly look and have it gravitate to one or two of the photos. So Elise, give me a letter.
Yeah. As I see in this image, A and B seems bent.
Okay.
C on the process of straight, but because of I can't see the foot, I can't decide it, evaluate it very well, because I need to see the foot also to evaluate the real bent knee or not. But the rest, D, E, F, and G seems straight.
Okay. So you would say you're sure that D is straight, and you might think that C is straight. You're just not sure.
Yes.
Right? Fair enough. Okay. So now we're going to look at each, and we're going to step through. All right. So
it's bent.
Bent,
I think.
Okay.
Better.
Right. Straight.
I think this is straight. Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to go back and just show the audience at home.
Yeah.
What we're looking for is I'm going to cheat. I'm going to grab. This is why I'm not in presentation mode, just to make this easy. Right. I can't really draw a straight line through to the hip here. Right. If I'm going up, I'm really not a straight line. If I move to D and I pick my line again, I go through the knee up to the hip. And while we don't see the whole thing, I have a high degree of confidence that the leg is straightened here. Okay. So now we're going to progress down, and we see, you know, it continues. And what I also notice is from D to E to F to G, I'm not seeing the angle on the back of the knee change much. Now, if it were hyperextending, it would be changing, and that would be fine. But if we go back to A, from A to B, we can really see that angle changing. From B to C, we can see the angle changing. From C to D, we see a little bit, right? So to the human eye at full speed, if you said she was straight at C, it'd probably be just fine, right? All right, so now we look at it and we can actually judge it. And if I look at C, I would say that's pretty straight. I'm confident that D is straight, so I pick the answer as D. I wouldn't say anyone who picks C is wrong. The important thing to note is that she's not illegal in A and B. Her knee is bent, but it has not made contact with the ground. And we do not judge until we're in contact with the ground. When does she make contact? All the way at F, right? So this is a walker who straightens a good 16 to 20, maybe 25 milliseconds before making contact with the ground. As a coach, I would say that's excessively straight and not needed. But as a judge, I'm only concerned with once the foot makes contact with the ground, which is on F. So she is absolutely obeying the definition of race walking. And here we have just a simple, the approach of the supporting leg, straightening, and then going through the motion through vertical. And I would say that is perfect legality. I wouldn't think twice about a yellow or a red, as we would hope most elite walkers are. Okay. So nothing controversial on the first one. Let's go to the next one. And the first thing we should notice, and I will say I didn't do these in really any particular order. There's no mad scientists going on here. When I look at this and I compare it to the previous walker, one leg is very muscular and the other one is very petite, right? And as judges, we have to discount the variations from one leg structure to another and just be looking to see if the leg is really straightened.
I think A, B, and a little bit C is bent.
Okay.
The rest, D, A, F, and G are straight.
Okay. And you did that quickly, which is good. All right. So let's now look at the blow up. There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Any change in your opinion?
No.
Okay. So now we'll look at it as a whole. All right. And
He
you
makes
should probably
contact with
say, you know,
yeah.
the leg is definitely straight at E. You could probably get away with D. Again, she doesn't make contact until F. So there's no issue whatsoever of whether or not she's legal or not. And we see a nice smooth progression before she makes contact with the ground. She is fully straightened and stays straightened through vertical.
Very clear technique, I think.
Right? I should have done a loop. Okay. All right. So now we get to another walker. And this is something that happens in the real world, right? This walker has socks very high up on the knee.
Yeah.
And that always gives me pause, right? Because I don't want to be distracted by the sock. All right. So let's play again.
Yeah. A, B is bent.
Okay.
But I'm not sure about C. And there are many legs also.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to understand the angle of the knee.
So let me ask you a question. As a judge, if you're not sure, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the next
Right.
lap. I want to be sure that she's definitely breaking the rules.
Okay. So we know that we feel that she's definitely bent.
Yeah, it seems bent. It seems bent too.
Okay.
Still in the progress, but now it's straight.
Okay, so what letter?
Image E, it is completely straight, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I gave it D.
D, yes, also in the D, it is
and again,
completely
right,
straight.
if you're off by a little bit, now in this case, it might have made a difference if you picked E because she made contact at D. But you know, if we're gonna play the game, I'm gonna draw a line. Right, that's pretty straight.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, so I feel like at D, I'm pretty confident that she has straightened.
Yeah.
And you know, these are the distractions that happen, right? So now we can also watch the video. And again, I would have no issue with this walker whatsoever. Right? That is legal.
Good. It seems good.
And most of these walkers are from the lead pack in the race, so we would expect, right, that they are legal walkers. All right, let's go to the next one.
Oh, A, B bench. C seems straight, I think.
Okay. So
D,
what?
E, F, and G are straight. Only
all right.
A and B, yeah,
So
seems.
what's really interesting on this one is notice the dramatic change from A to B.
Yes.
We've not seen that on any other walker. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just showing that people have different technique styles,
Yeah.
right? People straighten faster or slower, and we have to be ready to process that. So here we have a significantly bent knee that gets straighter very quickly, and then straight or close to straight, and then pretty much straight as we progress through. So I picked D, you picked C, right? They're close enough, right? If I drew a line on your C, it probably would be fine, right? I'm a little bit, to the front of the hip as opposed to the center of the hip, right? So this is why I'm picking D, because I'm trying to go middle ankle, middle knee, middle hip, right? And if I bring that over here,
Yeah.
right, I'm a little closer to the middle of the hip, right? But visually, it's straight. So, either of those would be fine. Where you pick the point that's the middle of the hip or the middle of the knee is a little subjective. And I forgot to put the video on this one. My wrong. Let me see if oh, I shouldn't have done that. it gave a name, but these are all legal, so it's fine. And now we can see the video. Okay, again, very legal, solid
I
technique.
think so.
Okay, next one. Very different musculature this time, right? Ooh, the video should be on a different frame.
A bent, B
Okay.
bent, but C a little bit bent. D, E, F, G are straight, I think.
Okay. So now this is a really interesting example because we have two walkers.
Yeah.
The one in the front and the one behind. So I'm going to ask a different question. Who is more bent at this point? Neither of them are in contact with the ground.
The back side is more bent, I think.
Okay. Right. So now watch the comparison as we step through.
Yeah.
Who's more bent now?
The back side again.
And now?
No, he is more straight.
Correct. Okay. So before you said that D was straight, but now that you see a straightened leg behind it, do you still think D is straight there?
Both are quite straight, I think.
Okay.
Acceptable, I think.
Okay.
Good. The rest, I think they are straight.
Okay. All right. So if I draw a line on D, that was the one we disagreed on.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we end up coming to the front of the hip.
Mm-hmm.
Where if we do it on E, we come to more of the center of the hip. Right, and when you look at one straightened leg going up versus the other, to me, there's a difference here that I don't see here. But the problem is, right, you and I are discussing whether it's D or E, and the walker makes contact at B.
They are contact the ground in a E.
No. In B. B is in boy.
No, that I think. Oh yeah, he's in B image. He is contacting with the ground.
So this would be an example of a bent knee walker.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we agreed A, B, and C are all bent. Even if we accept your D and I'm saying it's E, we're still 16 milliseconds of bent knee going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But now here's the question. Would you pick that up at full speed? At slow motion, you could see it. Very hard to see at full speed.
Very hard, I think so.
Right. So if a judge gave a call, I would say correct. If a judge didn't give a call, it would be hard to criticize them because there are people right on the line. Right. So this is why, and I've heard some people say, oh, it's easy to judge. It is not easy to judge. It is hard. It is, full out effort all the time. All right. So again, now we went from a very muscular leg to a very slender leg.
Until E image, it is bent, I think. A, B, C, D. In image A, E, in image E, it is straightening, and the process of straightening, F and G is completely straight, I think.
Okay, and do you notice how much quicker you're making your assessments now?
No, I just seeing the...
No, but it's good, right? But this is what the training does, I think. Like, it makes your brain process it faster.
Yeah.
So bent, bent,
still in the process of bend.
Right, and then we straighten.
It is straight, I think.
Okay, so I didn't say straight until all the way at G. You said F. Again, I'm not going to argue one frame to another. She doesn't make contact until G. So this is fine. It also highlights someone who probably is super efficient in terms of not hanging their foot in front of their body straightened, right? So you actually would expect that a walker would straighten just before the moment of contact. That is ideal. Okay, so we might have, if we were looking back here, right, we'd be like, oh my God, this walker must be illegal, right? Because we're going bent, straightening, but okay, straight. Except we haven't looked for contact. You always have to remember, you don't judge until contact. Okay, why are we doing this though? To train our mind to know what a straightened knee looks like. And as we have seen from you just doing the exercise, you're getting quicker at evaluating.
It seems quite good, but I need to see the foot.
Of course, but
yeah.
So
A bent,
okay.
B bent, I think. C, process of striking. D is I think straightened.
All right, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Watch the angle of the knee from A to B.
Yes, A bend, B bend.
Okay, but watch the change, right? Watch the back of the knee. You see it straightening? Okay. Did that straighten? No.
Yeah, I think so.
The angle is not changing. Okay, so when we look at it, right, it's definitely bent. It straightens a little bit, and then it just kind of steady states all the way through. This person got 3 red cards for bent knee. All right, this is somebody who I've seen walk a bit, and I think you and I had the conversation when you picked me up to go for coffee in Turkey, and we went to walk, and I said, "Oh, someone's race walking. Oh, they're walking with a bent knee." And I didn't even look up to know who it was. I just saw the bent knee, and it happened to be this walker. They were much better in Paris than in Italia. I measured them at 175, right on the cusp, right? So the fact that 3 judges gave her a bent knee and 3 did not actually tracks with that she was borderline. This is probably the hardest case of the entire deck that we're looking at. And, if you said she's legal and I said she's not, or vice versa, this is the hard one, right? I do believe, because I've watched it live and I watched the recording of this live, that I was able to pick it out with my human eye, not just on camera. But it's very, very tough. Okay. We have two more women, then we'll switch to the men.
A bent, E bent, C on the process, D is straight, E, F, and G completely straight, I think.
Okay. So here we go. We can see it straightening, right? You can see that change in the angle, right?
Yeah.
Still straightening. And then it's sort of steady states at that point. Right. So if you can train your eye to observe the angle change, right? So I picked E, D probably would be fine. I think C was still a little bent, and they don't make contact until E. So again, efficient in terms of the way the leg straightens. All right.
It seems interesting.
It is interesting. So
Yeah.
I picked this for a
A,
reason.
yeah. A is the A is bent,
Yeah.
B is bent,
Yeah.
C on process, D seems straight, but E seems, I think, because of the back leg, right leg, it seems as if bent, but the image seems wrong, I think.
So is the line going from the middle of the leg, middle of the knee to the middle of the hip?
Yeah, F and G seems straight, but E, I think it is a little bit that maybe the view of the image.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. So A, B, C, D. So in all of this, the angle really has not changed much of the knee. Right. And I actually think they never straighten.
Yeah.
They're just a little bent through the. So what you were picking up that you were attributing to the back leg was not the back leg. Right.
No,
Your gut was correct that something was wrong. And what was wrong was the knee was bent. This is another walker that had I been judging, I would have given a red card to. And again, I see it with my human eye, not just on the camera. All right. Ready to give the men equal time?
maybe she's letting her knee bent before her body comes up.
I'm not going to guess what is going on in her body because that's a coaching job, right? I'm just observationally as a judge. And I meant to number the women. I forgot to do that. The men are at least numbered, so we can say this is man one, man two.
A is bent, B
Okay.
is bent, C is on process, D straight, E, F, G completely straight.
Okay. So let's walk through. We're saying bent. So you can see it straightening there.
Yeah.
Straightening.
It's in the D image, it seems straight, I think.
So I said C or D for straight. They made contact at D, so highly efficient, completely legal.
Yeah.
And when we watch the video, perfect. Someone said to me that the men are harder to judge than the women because of their musculature. I never felt that way. I think it's pretty equal, and there are some women that have very muscular legs and some men that do not. So, you know, here is a more slender leg.
A is bent, B seems bent, and B is bent. C and D on the process of straightening. E, F, and F completely straight, but G, yeah.
All right, let's look at it blown up.
E, F, C. D is okay. E, perfect. F, perfect. G is okay.
Okay, so I had straightening at C.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make contact until E. You know, very legal.
Yeah.
Okay, go on to man number 3.
A bent, E bent, C bent, D is, I'm not sure, E and F straightened.
Okay, now we'll look at it larger. So bent. So somewhere around D or E, I would say it's fully extended or straight. And they make contact at E. So whether it's C, whether it's D or E, this person would be legal. And again, when we say legal, we're only evaluating the straightened knee portion of the rule. We're not looking at loss of contact. That's a whole different discussion. Okay.
Good technique, yeah.
All right. So man 4, we only have 8 men, I think.
A bent, B
Okay.
bent, C seems good to me, but D
Okay.
is perfectly straightened. E, F, and G also straightened.
Okay, so here we are at A, B,
Yeah.
C, D,
E,
E, F. So by the time you're at G, you're sort of hyperextending,
yeah.
right? So you want to be careful not to require hyperextension because it's not part of the rule, but it is something that we do. So I would actually say they straighten by B. They make contact at C.
Mm-hmm.
They are legal.
I think so.
And if we watch the video, it confirms what we're seeing. Okay, man number 5.
A bent, B bent, C still bent, I think. D is straightened. E, F, G are straightened.
Okay, so I'm going to point out 2 things on this. When I look at this, my eye went right to D, right? Like, hey, that looks straight. One thing you can do, and this wasn't intentional, but as I was practicing this with somebody and working out the way to present it, look at A and E. There's a big difference between the straightening of A and E, right? Because there's only 8 milliseconds between each frame, sometimes it's hard to be like, is it C, is it D? But then look at B and F, and you go, yeah, F is straighter than B. Then you look at C and G, and there's a little difference, but they're getting close, right? So we can start doing some of that comparing and contrasting to, again, see. Okay, and I had said B, which I'm contradicting myself. Let's see if I draw the line. Yeah, so that's pretty straight at B.
Yeah.
But it shows that when you look at it quickly, even I can make a mistake, right? None of us do this and get 100%. I asked a question at one point, what percentage of calls should judges make correct? And no one ever thought, like, no one had an answer. Like, is 95% good enough? Is it supposed to be 99%? I assure you, we're not making 99% of our calls correct. I don't make 99% of my calls correct. And I've been doing this with video evaluations for years now, and I am improving. But it also sort of depends on who you're judging, because some people are. This is very, very hard to judge. Judging a local race, much easier.
Oh, yeah.
And this should give you an example of, oh my God, what's going on in the background, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
this is the chaos that judges have to deal with.
A seems bent. But it is like also the previous one. In the B, it seems straightened. C, D, E, F, G are straightened.
Okay, so now let's look at it blown up. You really don't see much of a change of angle in the knee until you sort of get there where it's a little, right? So I'm saying somewhere between
yeah.
B and C, I think, is where it straightens.
He's straightening his leg very early, then he's contacting the ground.
Yeah, he's making contact at D. So if
Yeah.
he's straightening at C, that's not bad. And one thing you have to look at is, look at D, he's in contact. Look at C, he's not. But there's 8 milliseconds that go on in between there. The walker probably made contact 1 or 2 milliseconds after C. So straightening at C or even B is only 8 to 9 or 10 milliseconds before they make contact. So it's not bad. All right. Walker 7.
A is bent, B is bent, C seems straightened, D, E, F, and G are okay.
Okay, now let's look at them close up. Okay, so I had them straightening at B. Let's draw the line. Right, that's pretty good. They don't make contact until G. Oh, hang on. Go.
Yeah, it seems good.
Actually, they made contact at C. That's a typo. Oh, no. Yeah, sorry. Hang on. Contact at C. All right. And let's do the last one. Man, 8.
A is maybe. Yeah. Only A is bent, I think.
Okay.
B, C, D, E, F, G.
All right, so we go bent. We see it straightening.
Yeah.
Straightening a little bit more there still. And then it's pretty much steady state. So I would say C. Because you saw the difference between A, B, you still see it kind of extending there, and then it's sort of steady states in terms of the angle. And what's really cool is what I basically did was take the top pack of men and women from the Olympics. None of them exhibited bent knee. One of them exhibited bent knee. The two other bent knee walkers were from the back of the pack that I pulled in just so that we would have some examples of people who were bent knee. But the vast majority of elite walkers are walking with a straightened knee. The issue is the loss of contact, right? And whether or not we're calling the right people for loss of contact. What is key to take away from this exercise is that your eye can be distracted and you see bent knees where they're not. So if you focus just on the knee and train your eye to really discern what a straightened knee is, then pull back and look at contact, and then you do it all in parallel. So you look at bent knee at contact, hopefully you'll become a more accurate judge. So Elise, I thank you for your time today. I think a lot of people will benefit from this. It's a lot. I mean, we spent an hour going through the 2 decks. But I think this is necessary. And with the advent of loss of contact chips and potentially loss of contact becoming completely objective, my fear is that the bent knee will become a greater issue and that we have to be accurate in the calls that we make.